Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something really cool. It's how a new kind of artificial intelligence is about to completely shake up a part of the medical world that you probably never think about, but is absolutely critical for all of us, making sure medical devices are safe.
Just think about it. Before a pacemaker or even a simple test kit can be used on a patient, it has to go through this incredibly tough audit. Regulators like the FDA need absolute certainty that it's safe and effective. So every company has to prove it, and that proof is buried in a mountain of documents. This is the safety net we all count on.
And that's really the big question, isn't it? This whole process is essential, but man, is it slow, super expensive, and just mind-bogglingly complex. So a team of researchers started asking, what if we could teach an AI to think like an expert auditor? Could we revolutionize this entire field?
Okay, let's get into it. To really get why this solution is so clever, you first have to understand the sheer scale of the problem. We're not just talking about a little hill of paperwork here. This is a full-blown mountain.
At the heart of every one of these audits is something called a quality management system, or a QMS. You can think of it as the company's master playbook. It's literally hundreds of pages of documents that spell out every single process they have, all to prove they're meeting the legal standards. And trying to audit that QMS by hand? It's a total nightmare. You have human experts who have to dig through all these incredibly dense documents, trying to match company procedures to legal standards that are often, let's be honest, kind of vague and bureaucratic. It takes forever, it costs a fortune, and it's a huge bottleneck for getting new, life-saving tech out to the people who need it. So you're probably thinking, just use AI, right? Just feed all the documents into a large language model and ask it if everything's good to go. Well, it turns out it's not quite that simple. The first attempts to do just that kind of hit a brick wall. And this is where things get really interesting, because it shows the two different roads you could take. On the one hand, you have the standard approach, fine-tuning. That's where you try to train a generic AI on tons of data. The problem is that data often doesn't exist, and even when it does, the AI's interpretation of the rules just doesn't line up with what human regulators expect. But the other path, the expert system approach, well, that's a whole different ballgame. Instead of just more data, it uses human wisdom.
And this is the big aha moment. The researchers figured out they didn't need a stronger AI, they needed a smarter one. One that could be taught to think just like a seasoned professional auditor. So how'd they do it?
The secret weapon is a framework they built called LLMES. It's basically a system that combines the raw number-crunching power of a large language model with the nuanced, real-world knowledge of an expert human auditor.
So what exactly is this expert knowledge? Well, it's not just what's written in the law books. It's all the stuff that's not written down. It's knowing how regulators actually interpret those vague rules. It's the wisdom gained from looking at past audits where other companies messed up. It's the unwritten rules of the game that you only learn from years of experience. LLMEs captures all of that.
And this is just brilliant. This is how they actually organized all that human wisdom. They built this audit logic hierarchy. So instead of asking one giant, vague question, they taught the AI to break the problem down into 6 clear checks. It starts with the basics. Hey, did you even say you were going to follow the rule? And goes all the way down to, okay, now show me the records that prove you actually did it. It gives the AI a step-by-step, expert-level playbook to follow every single time.
Okay, so they've got the expert knowledge, they've got this smart, logical structure. How does the whole thing actually work? How does it do an audit? Well, it boils down to this really elegant 4-step process.
First, the system takes all that dense legal jargon and uses the expert knowledge to translate it into a simple checklist. And the best part? That's a one-time job. Next, an AI agent zips through all the company's documents, finding the exact pieces of text relevant to each item on the checklist. Then, the LLM analyzes that text and compares it to what's required. And finally, it makes the call, compliant or non-compliant. And just like a human auditor, it explains exactly why.
Okay, so this all sounds amazing on paper, right? But the real question is, does it actually work? The researchers decided to put it to the test, head-to-head against the standard AI approach. And the results? They're pretty staggering.
All right, so the way you measure success in this kind of test is with something called an F1 score. Just think of it like a grade for accuracy, where a perfect 1.0 is an A+. And what did LLMAs get? A whopping 0.895. For a task this complex, that is an incredible score.
Now that number is really good on its own, but it becomes unbelievable when you see it next to the alternative. Take a look. The old way, just throwing a generic AI at the problem, it only scored a 0.696. We're not talking about a little improvement here. This is a massive, massive leap forward in accuracy.
And get this, it's not just more accurate, it is ridiculously fast. The paper points out that LLMs chewed through 280 different documents in about 4 hours on a regular laptop. You know, a human team could spend days, maybe even weeks doing that same job. That's a total game changer for efficiency.
So, we've seen the numbers, and they're impressive. But what does this all actually mean for you and me? For our health, for our safety? This is where it gets really, really exciting.
Okay, first up, better safety. It's simple. More accurate audits mean safer products for all of us. Period. It also means a huge boost in efficiency, which can lower costs and help get new innovations to market faster. And because that expert checklist only needs to be built once, this solution is instantly scalable. You can use it for tons of different companies. Plus, you can adapt this whole framework for other industries, like automotive, or anything with heavy regulation. And they're already thinking about what's next, teaching the AI to not just find the problems, but also suggest how to fix them. So what this LLMS story really shows us is that the future of AI isn't just about making bigger and more powerful models. It's about making them wiser. It's about teaching them to combine that incredible processing power with real human expertise. Which kind of leaves us with one last thought. If a smart AI can conquer the mountain of medical device auditing, what other impossible mountain of paperwork is next? Thanks for joining me.